The cabin lights flickered low over the Atlantic, but the real storm was brewing in row 2A. "Sir, that metal's gotta go now," the flight attendant snapped, her voice slicing through the hum of engines like a bad joke no one laughed at. Sergeant Eli Harlan didn't blink. He just sat there in his crisp, tomb-lard uniform navy coat, starched stiff kepi hat on his lap, white gloves folded like a truce flag, staring straight ahead, calm as the marble he guarded back at Arlington. Passengers craned their necks, a few snickered into their drinks, one kid wide-eyed like it was a movie prop gone wrong. To them, he was just some overdressed vet playing soldier on a red-eye. But what no one clocked, what not even the captain whispering in the galley knew yet, was that the Purple Heart on his chest had been forged in an Afghan ambush that took 4 lives, and the man wearing it had sworn an oath to stand silent for the unknown fallen. By Will's down, that silence was about to wake the whole damn plane. Before we dive into this story, where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe that values like honor, courage, and sacrifice still matter, join us in keeping their legacy alive. The roar of jet engines hummed like a distant promise as the plane taxied down the runway at Dulles International, just outside Washington, D.C. But it was the whispers that cut through the cabin air, sharp and sudden, turning a routine flight into something unforgettable. Sergeant Eli Harlan, Eli to his buddies back in Texas, sat in first class, his Tomb Guard uniform crisp as the day he'd first put it on. The navy blue coat hugged his frame, heavy with the weight of embroidered badges from Arlington National Cemetery, the gold insignia catching the overhead light like a quiet salute. His kepi hat rested on his lap, dark blue with a polished visor, and his black sunglasses were hooked over the brim. White gloves lay folded neatly beside it, still carrying the faint chalk dust from that morning's tomb patrol. On his chest, pinned right above his heart, gleamed the Purple Heart, dull purple ribbon framing a gold heart, awarded for shrapnel that tore through him in the Afghan dust. Eli wasn't here to show off. He was heading home to Amarillo for a quick visit with his mom before reporting back for another shift guarding the tomb of the unknown soldier. But that medal? It was about to spark a fire no one saw coming. Eli shifted in his seat, the stiff wall of his trousers brushing against the leather armrest. He'd flown this route a dozen times, D.C. to Dallas, military perks getting him up front. The flight attendant, a woman in her mid-30s with a sharp uniform and sharper eyes, had boarded him without a second glance at the gate. Name tag read, Liana Vargas. She was efficient, the kind of pro who'd seen every type of traveler, from Wall Street suits to wide-eyed tourists. As the plane leveled off at cruising altitude, the seatbelt sign dinged off and the cabin settled into that low buzz of snacks being passed and screens flickering to life. Eli pulled out a worn paperback from his carry-on, a dog-eared copy of Gates of Fire, the story of Spartan warriors, that always grounded him after a long patrol. He wasn't much for small talk, especially not in uniform. The Tomb Guard oath drilled that into him. Precision, reverence, silence. But Liana noticed him on her second pass down the aisle, tray in hand with coffee and water. Her gaze snagged on the Purple Heart, then flicked up to the kepi, the gloves, the whole getup. She paused, tilting her head like she'd spotted something out of place in her perfectly ordered world. "Excuse me, sir," she said, voice polite but edged with that professional caution. "That's quite the uniform. You with some reenactment group or something?" "We get folks dressed up for conventions all the time." Eli looked up slowly, his dark eyes steady under the brim of his invisible cap. He set the book down on his knee, fingers bare now but callous from gripping a rifle resting lightly on the cover. "No, ma'am," he replied, his Texas drawl soft like gravel under boot soles. "I'm Sergeant Eli Harlan, 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, Tomb Guard at Arlington. Just finished a shift this morning." Leanna's eyebrows arched, but not in awe and skepticism. She glanced at the medal again, closer this time, like she was checking for a price tag. "Arlington? That's impressive. But that Purple Heart there, mind if I ask where you got it? We've had passengers try to pull off replicas before, from flea markets or online. It can confuse folks, make it think it's some kind of show." The words landed like a misfired round. Eli didn't flinch, but his jaw tightened just a fraction, the same way it did during a 21-gun salute when the echoes hit too close. Around him, a few heads turned. In the row across the aisle, a young guy in a hoodie, Jake, early 20s, scrolling TikTok, paused his thumb and leaned in, phone already angled like he smelled content gold. Behind him, an older woman with silver-streaked hair and a cross necklace, Mrs. Evelyn Hayes lowered her magazine, her eyes sharpening with recognition. Eli met Leanna's gaze level. "Ma'am, this isn't a replica. It was awarded at Walter Reed, 2012. Shrapnel from an IED in Kandahar province. I wear it with the uniform because protocol says so for official travel. But if it's an issue, you tell me how to fix it." Leanna crossed her arms, the tray balanced on one hip. "Protocol or not, this is my cabin. I've dealt with entitled passengers before. CEOs flashing Rolexes, influencers with fake bling. Yours just happens to be thematic. If you won't comply, I'll have to ask you to deplane at the next stop. Dallas, maybe." That hit like a gut punch. Deplane for honoring the fallen? Eli's mind flashed back, not to the flight, but to the dust-choked valley in Afghanistan. The convoy rolling out at dawn, sun baking the hoods, his squad laughing about cold beers back home. Then the boom, IED ripping the lead vehicle apart, flames licking the sky. Eli had been in the second truck, door flying open as he vaulted out, gloves already on from habit, grabbing his buddy Ramirez by the collar. Shrapnel whistled past, one chunk slicing his side like hot butter. "Move, Eli, get clear," Ramirez had yelled. But Eli dragged him 20 yards through the dirt, small arms fired cracking overhead. The Dr. Bagram pulled 147 pieces from his gut. The Purple Heart came a week later, pinned on a hospital gown. "For wounds received in action against an enemy of the United States," the citation read. But to Eli, it was Ramirez's ghost, whispering, "You wear it for me, hermano." He shook it off. Back in the cabin, recycled air. Eli said, "Ma'am," louder now, but still calm. "You ever wonder why we fight? Not for glory, for folks like you and me to argue over coffee without fear. That medal, it's the receipt. If it bothers someone, point them to me. I'll explain." Leanna opened her mouth, closed it. A murmur rippled. Jake muttering, "This is going viral. Some soldier dude in full gear getting grilled by the attendant. Is this real?" Evelyn clutching her necklace. From the cockpit door, footsteps approached. Captain Ray Donovan, mid-50s, salt and pepper hair under his cap, the build of a man who'd logged hours over hostile skies in Desert Storm. He nodded to Leanna, then to Eli. "Sergeant Harlan." "Captain Donovan, let's hear both sides, quick and civil." Leanna jumped in, words tumbling. "Captain, he's in full military getup, hat, gloves, this big medal. It's intimidating. Families back there with kids. One already complained about war stuff. Policy says keep it neutral." Donovan turned to Eli, eyes flicking to the Purple Heart with the quiet respect of a fellow vet. "Sergeant, your take." Eli stood halfway, the uniform coat pulling taut across his shoulders. "Sir, I'm en route home on leave. Uniform's regulation for travel from duty. The medals earned, Kandahar 2012. Convoy ambush. I pulled my gunner out. He didn't make it. 3 others didn't. I wear it pinned as required to honor them. If it's a problem, I'll cover it. But hiding it feels like hiding their names." The cabin went pin-dropped. Still, you could hear the engine's steady thrum, the ice clinking in forgotten cups. Donovan rubbed his chin, glancing at Leanna. "You verify his ID at boarding?" She nodded, reluctant. "Yes, sir, it's legit." "And the uniform? Any protocol breach?" "One Emirian, no, but a caught on our..." Donovan held up his hand. "Gentle, but firm. Appreciate the caution, Leanna. Safety first, but this ain't a breach. This is duty." He hit his mic, voice booming soft over the intercom. "Folks, this is your captain. Quick word. We've got a tomb guard from Arlington aboard, Sergeant Harlan. Guard on our nation's heroes 24/7, 365, rain or shine. That uniform, it's not costume, it's covenant. If anyone's bothered, come see me. Otherwise, let's give the man the respect he and his brothers earned. Back to your movies." A beat of silence, then applause scattered at first from Evelyn's row, then swelling